Alright guys, the time is 6:09 p.m. It's the 18th at this point. I don't remember if it's the 7th or 6th day of this, but uh, I want to say it was the 6th. I imagine I started on a Monday. No? I don't know. Whatever. It's day whatever, it'll be in the title. But situation right now is I didn't record in the morning, didn't go over like what we were gonna do and stuff like that, just because I did end up having a little bit of a later night last night. Nothing crazy, but I actually did end up staying under my macros, so that was good. I didn't go over, and but yeah, ended up getting home closer to 12. Woke up a little bit late this morning, so I didn't get to shower. That always sucks because the shower is kind of what wakes me up for the day, and it's kind of like part of my routine where kind of people talk about, it could be beneficial, but it also could be, to your detriment. If it's almost like you can't perform without having your routine, then obviously it's not doing you good because life isn't perfect. But anyway, so I came in at 8 a.m. It's 6. So what is that? 10 hours? That's just under 12 hours. And it was a $975 day. So let's just see. 121 and 87 cents per hour. So not bad, definitely not bad. And to be fair, probably an hour of that was not installing. It was checking people in, checking people out, kind of helping them decide what shades to choose and stuff like that. But I'm still counting that, obviously because that's part of the job. But also another big portion of time, let's say 30 minutes or so, was me eating. I normally don't eat, and I wouldn't have ate today. I was completely fasted, just like I always say. But my mom happened to be in town. Um, yeah, she happened to be in town. She wanted to drop by, have lunch with me, so she surprised me with some food. She called me, asked what I wanted. I was trying to just think on the fly what I could eat that wouldn't like absolutely ruin any like plans or like just like completely wreck my macros or like not eat. Anyway, I stuck with Slim Chickens, which if you don't know what that is, I think it's semi-local. It's like for sure big, but I think it's like neighboring cities and states. I don't know if it's like nationwide. Anyway, yeah, it's just chicken tenders and like fries and whatnot. So plenty of protein, not an insane amount of fat. Probably the most fat that came from, well, not the most, obviously it's deep fried chicken, but a good portion of the fat that came from it is definitely going to be from just that little cup of honey mustard sauce that I dip it in. Anyway, I keep saying anyway. So I need to find a better way to transition. But overall, good day in terms of work. No really big lessons learned today or anything like that. Oh, one thing I wanted to talk about was in a previous video I mentioned how I was having a really big issue with my film curling. Now, I mentioned how this company is a good company. I love working with this company, and everybody says good things about this company, and nobody else has had this issue, not that I've seen anyway. But my hypothesis was like vinyl wrap or like just most material, it will get brittle in the cold, and as you heat it up it gets more relaxed. So this being a film, me having messed with vinyl wrap and ppf, obviously tint is like super different, but I had an idea. So yeah, my hypothesis was in the cold it's stiff, so coming off that roll it's wanting to stay in that roll shape, so it's going to curl and roll back up, and as it gets warmer it's relaxed. So the big issue was I had a super, well, to me, I mean, I'm sure this is just what like AC units and like whatever like mini splits. I went with a mini split just because I wasn't going to pay for like duct work and whatever else like from an actual what's it called, what's it called, man, I lose all sorts of words. I'm really gonna try and just. Oh man, it's like right there. Anyway, a traditional like AC unit with like ductwork or whatever else. Yeah, I wasn't gonna pay for that because this isn't my shop. I lease it, so I'm just gonna pay for this unit. As far as I'm concerned, to move it, all I'd have to pay for was like the installation of it, whatever, which I'm sure would be expensive, but it's definitely not the price of just buying another one. Plus, if I just got a legitimate AC unit, where's the heat? With this mini split, I got both the heat and cool for an extremely low electrical price. Like I think I pay $30 to $40 of electrical every single month. Like yeah. Anyway, and then the alternative was my shop actually came with a heater, massive heater that probably like heat the shop in like legitimately, I don't even know, like 5 minutes. It's like massive, way oversized. It's like, yeah, it's like the size. That's not coming out right. It's probably rated for 3 times the amount of size that my shop is. So yeah, but I never, like, since I moved in, like, yeah, just hook up the gas, heater works, it's brand new, and it is like, it's like a brand new massive shop heater, like industrial, it's huge. But like just the whatever gas bill or yeah, I think just like the service fee, just for like having it on every month, like let's say starts at, I don't know, 20th, there's just like a fee just to have it on or whatever. And it's like low, it's not excessive. So it's like not having used it is probably the same that I pay overall for all of my electrical. And so it just didn't make sense to me. I was like, to get man, it was there. I almost had it. To get like an actual AC unit put in with like the ductwork and all that stuff, that would have to stay there and then have to pay for that stay there, and I'd have to pay for the heater now. And I was like, I'll just get a mini split and then I'll take it wherever I go if I decide to go somewhere else, if like I've grown to that point. So what to me was a very expensive mini split. I'm still trying to talk about the film and I need to get better at that. That's crazy. So to me, what was a very expensive mini split, I have been struggling with. It works great. It's super smart. It like has like this airflow, so like it can literally like, it's super good. I can like set a weekly schedule. I set a weekly schedule. That way it like keeps the shop at a good temperature, but it's not wasting like insane amounts of power. But whenever the whenever the dipshits set it up, of course they have to test it before they get out of there. But like, let's say they finish setting up around 3 p.m. or something like that. Set up the remote so that they can turn it on and whatever. And like one of the first things the remote's going to have you do is set the clock. They set the clock. I don't know how they don't have experience doing this, considering the fact that this is what they do for a living, being, like HVAC technicians or whatever they are. But yeah, it's like a 24-hour like clock. So let's say they finished at 3, they put it as 3. So now it thinks it's 3 a.m. And so whenever I set my schedule, it was completely backwards. And I didn't really pick up on the fact that it was backwards for a long time. Like I would like do my schedule, and then like I just saw it didn't work. So I was like, well, this sucks. Like I just paid the whatever. And then later on I figured out that it's like completely backwards. I was like, what the hell? It just like kicked on and like whatever. Anyway, I figured out that it was backwards. And so then I was like, but I never set the clock on the remote, so I didn't know that was that issue. I thought the whole unit was just backwards. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to go in and reset the schedule and make it backwards so that it's actually right. And so then I'm flipping through the manual, and then it's like set clock, and I was like, what the hell? I don't ever remember setting the clock. And then it occurred to me that I didn't. That the people that set up the mini split, when they tested it, they set up the remote and stuff like that, they set the clock. So yeah, I fixed the clock on the remote, and so now when I set the schedule, everything's correct. And I tested it, and I had it to where it would keep the shop at 64 about an hour after the time that I normally leave. So I typically leave latest around 5. Sometimes I do stay late. Like for example, today it's 6:20, and so I got to see it switch. Anyway, I have it set so that it's 70 degrees from 7 a.m. to 6. So that's the times that I'm likely to be there. And then when I leave, it goes down to 64. So the lowest it goes is 64. That's what it keeps it at. And so I come in today and I do, 2 jobs. The first one's carbon. That one's always relaxed. I never have an issue with that one curling. But ceramic, which is the one that was the worst one, way better. And today was colder than any of the other days. So it's already way better. So I imagine the longer it's stored in like a more warmer environment, consistently, I imagine it's going to relax more. If not, again, I'll figure it out, and then I'll just have it, if it's worth it, I'll have it keep the shop at a higher temperature. I still got to see the electric bill for it running, like 24/7. So yeah, if any of you guys are ever having issues with film curling and whatnot, blah blah blah, for me, 100% it was the temperature. It was cold, it's stiffening up, and so it's wanted to stay curled up. Then it's warmer, it relaxes. I mean, it's that simple, but it's also not, because, like, let's say it's super curled up and I kind of hit it with a heat gun, it's not that sensitive like a vinyl wrap, which I keep coming back to, where it's you literally heat it up a little bit, super soft, dries, and back and forth, not dries, but cools. It's not that sensitive at all. It has to be stored hours, warming it up for it to relax. So that was a big score, because I was having huge issues with that, especially with trying to maintain the quality that I like, which is filing edges. And it was okay, if I'm trying to file edges to make it that much better, just that next level higher, and then I do it, but it's curling, so I'm fighting it, and it takes me longer. And then on top of that, it's curling, so it's sucking water back in those areas that it's curling or whatever off the top edge, which is sucking in contamination. So now I got a couple little contaminants along the top edge and so it's all this effort to make it that little bit better, and then I'm basically taking one step forward, 2 steps backwards, taking longer, and I'm getting contaminants. And it's oh yeah, nice crisp top edge, but it's with contaminants along the top edge. So it just kind of felt man, am I gonna have to go back to not filing edges during the winter? Because then it once you go backwards, it just feels like you're shorting people, you're not doing right by them. But then it also felt wrong to yeah, but your edge is nice. Don't look at the contamination is not a big deal. The edge is super crisp. It's and so I really wanted to figure it out. So I'm happy about that. And one day, if anybody happens to watch any of these and is also involved in any of the niches, yeah, window film, store it at an appropriate temperature, and it won't. You shouldn't have curling issues, unless it's I guess not a good brand. Maybe not so good brands have curling issues. I think there was something else I wanted to touch on, but right now, that's all that comes to mind. Let's see. Let's run through the day, see if it comes to mind. Just past that skunk. Holy shit! It's every single day on my way to work. It's this long kind of back road. It's a highway, but not a interstate. So it's this long 20 minutes from basically my neighborhood to my shop, and but it's a back road-ish. Again, not an interstate, but tons of traffic coming through all day, and dead animals all the time. And I used to not be so sensitive to things like that. And then I got cats, and obviously I love them and kind of feel more for animals. So yeah, dead animals all the time, and they take forever. I don't know if it's a city or what, but they take forever to pick it up. Anyway, that skunk's been bugging me every single time I come through. It'll smell a mile before and a mile after, and it's just terrible. Especially running your heater, it's 30 degrees right now. Anyway, quick run through the day. Wake up, head to the shop, check first one in, do all sides of the mirror with the windshield. This was a Camry. Start with the windshield first, did the rest, everything came out good. Check them out, check the next one in. This person was very in between on their shades. They literally chose their shades, left, came back before I started, and we're oh, we changed our mind. Start talking about it, go outside, look at some other cars I had done, think about it. Okay, no, we're keeping it. And so that was funny. But that one was just all sides in the rear with a brow. Mom called me probably within the first hour of that one. Says, what do you want? Tell her Slims. Pulls up with some Slims, munch on that together, leaves, finish the car. I don't know. I think there was something else in there, but anyway. But plan right now, go home, shower, probably eat again, and try my absolute hardest to make sure that I go to the gym. It is so incredibly easy right now. I want to go to the gym, but just based off of how today's going, I am foreseeing what's gonna happen. It's gonna be like maybe 7:30 by the time I'm out of the shower, dressed or whatever, and then I'm eating my next meal. I think we're gonna go to my mom's because she made some more food. And if you guys know anything about carne asada, then as long as it's not like the super fattiest meat, it's actually a good bit of protein for with a good bit of carbs. So not like an absolutely disgusting anyway, not like an absolutely disgusting like cheat day. It's still very valuable food, or like your body can use a lot of it well. And on top of that, it's not like super duper processed. It's like fresh meat cooked, and then actually in this case, it's not even like super processed tortillas. She's making the tortillas, which I guess you could argue how processed I guess the ingredients to make the tortillas are. I don't know I don't know if it's literally like a tortilla like batter add water type of deal, or if it's like she literally like makes it from whatever the fuck you make tortillas out of, um, from scratch. Anyway, one thing I wanted to touch on was how long these cars took. So, for example, first one took me. I really finished at 1. So that was from 8 a.m. to 1, which is 5 hours. In my opinion, that's pretty good, especially because I think that car was like literally like 550 or something like that, like on the dot. I don't know. So it was like right around like $100 an hour for that one, maybe just over $100 an hour. And I didn't feel like it was quick. I didn't feel like it was slow. That's just like average time now. Before that would be like a 6 or 7 hour job. Before I would not be able to dream of tinting a full front windshield, all the sides and the rear, and pull another one in and do the full all sides in the rear and do a brow. Like I just if I had a day where I did all sides in the rear with the windshield, that was all I was doing that day. So I'm definitely making some progress, and even whatever 4 years in, which I'm sure at one point I'll look back at this and be like, man, I was still barely starting. But I just remember like every time, like there's for sure levels to this, because like I was 6 months in, I was like, okay, I got this down. I'm pretty comfortable with it. I know how to tint, and it's like I'm pretty good. And then I got a year in, and I was like, dude, I learned so much more. I'm so much better. And then like another 2 years, it's like yeah, another level, but I'm pretty sure this is about all you can learn. I pretty much got to know how to do it all, whatever. And now I'm 4 years in. It's like yep, still improving. And people are like 10 and 15 years in or whatever. That are knocking stuff out apparently crazy. Like, they would argue they could have done that first car in 3 hours instead of 5. Or I mean, that was 2 full cars, and then with one of them had a full windshield. Some people will literally argue in the Facebook groups and claim they can do 9 in a single day. I mean, let's say not including the windshield. Some people will like say including the windshield they can do like 4 or 5. Now, am I doubting that? 100%. And then if they are doing that work, is it alone? Do they have a helper? Do they have a prepper? And regardless of all of that, I mean, because actually with a helper, I mean, I've done a full windshield and I've done the entire car full windshield and everything in 3 hours before. Now, was that consistent? Is that sustainable? Probably not. But I mean, it was decently comfortable for anyway 3 hours. But let's say I have a helper, we kill it in 3 hours, and we work a 9 hour day. That's 3 of those. People are claiming they can do like 5, and then people are claiming they can do 9 just like sides and rear. So if they can, I would argue, how is the quality on it? That's going to be the big thing everybody jumps to. It's like, well, yeah, I could do 20 if I just threw it on there. But so I mean, if you're priced correctly, yeah, it's great to like do 9 in a day and make 3 times more than I just made or whatever. But you're definitely not struggling if you make 970, just under $1,000 in a day. And again, I worked 9 hours and probably like 30 minutes or an hour lunch. So not the hardest day in the world, not the easiest. Actually, for some people, they might say it's pretty easy. But so definitely don't be super caught up on time. I'm not so concerned with it. The only reason I would be concerned with it is for training purposes. Whenever I hire someone, obviously I want to be able to train a system that is profitable and that is sustainable for them and for me. That's the only reason I'm concerned with time. In terms of like maximizing profits, I just need it to be reasonable. Definitely not like a huge focus, like absolutely pushing volume, quantity over quality. It's like I'm not so concerned with it, and I wouldn't suggest you concern yourself with it very much either. It's just likely not in your best interest, not sustainable. You probably are going to grow rapidly, get your name out there rapidly, and it might be years, it might be months, it might be years before people start to catch on. But it's essentially you got a bucket and it's leaky, right? Now it's got big ass holes, but let's say you've got a 5 gallons per minute pressure washer that's just like rapidly filling up this bucket. But this 5 gallon per minute pressure washer is hooked up to whatever amount of gallons. It's limited. So you're gonna feel it's gonna fill up, and then you're gonna be full, and you're gonna be like, I am as successful as I could. I can't handle anymore. And then you didn't put out good work and all this stuff. You never fix those holes essentially by putting out bad work. Essentially, you create more holes. Again, you have a leaky bucket, and you never fixed them. You never bothered to. You were just so focused with filling it up, that quantity. So whenever that amount of gallons that you had runs out, you're screwed. Um, and only the people that are like, let's say you're a cheaper, only the people that are willing to sacrifice quality because you're cheaper and like, oh, he can get me in super quick, he's cheaper, and I don't mind that it's not the best. Only those people are going to be left with you, and generally, those people usually aren't the best to work with. Um, so, and by the way, like the whatever gallons that you have in reserve, that's just the local population. So eventually, and depending where you are, it can take a long time to get to that population, but eventually you are going to find yourself running out of people, ran out of water, and you're just there with a bucket full of holes in it. If you're smart, maybe you do something smart with that money where you didn't have to worry about it. But generally, I would say don't do that. Probably put out better work than be worried about the quantity. So that's all. That was like 3 different topics with like subtopics. Almost 26 minutes. So some of that might get cut. Maybe not if I'm feeling a little bit lazy, since still all of these are getting no views. There's not really much of a point to it, and I can just, like I said, go back and look at them. So, but anyway, I'll probably update you guys when I will definitely be going to the gym later. I have to. So hopefully we get a really nasty chest bump, and I see you guys probably not before because I just did a whole ton of yapping, but maybe just like a pump and then a quick after. That way this video doesn't get too long. So I'll see you guys then.